Hip-hop is a genre of music that's taken many forms over the years. Today, I want to focus on a new style of hip-hop called info-rap. It's how socially conscious artist and rising hip-hop star Cale Sampson describes his music. The Canadian musician is using his talents to draw attention to society's flaws by inviting people to question authority and think critically. I first noticed Cale in a viral video when he was rapping a cappella to an audience of hundreds, if not thousands, at Occupy Toronto. So I invited Cale to the studio to perform some songs off his latest album, The Big Picture. His first song is called Reach Up.
Considering everything that's going on in the world these days, I think this song is only fitting. It's time to unite, time to reach up and defend all our rights. There's so many people in pain. It's time to reach up, time to create a change. It's time that we speak, time to reach up and demand world peace. That we've all got to believe, we've got to reach up if we want to be free. The top 1% of the population own 40% of the wealth. Over 30,000 children die every day in poverty from lack of health. This wealth gap keeps increasing between rich and poor. There's more slavery now than ever before. Although democracy is supposed to be equal, government is controlled by a small group of people. Bankers and corporations are in charge. They finance presidents who then help them make laws. All the candidates are really pre-selected. It doesn't matter which party ends up elected. Central banks control the money supply. The crazy thing is that they're all privatized. Every dollar that's printed and never exists is a loan that we need to pay back with interest. Fractional reserve system's a scam, keeps the whole nation in debt, and that's the plan. This is happening across the whole entire world. It only leads to global empire. The US uses the World Bank and IMF to pay off politicians and put countries in debt. That debt's so big they can never repay, so they're forced to sell all the resources as a trade. At the end of the day, it's all nothing more than economic bribery and extortion. So more and more people are becoming desperate. Potential terrorists that can be arrested, and your home can be searched now without a warrant. You can be detained indefinitely and tortured. These laws are designed to destroy our liberties, so when we fight back it limits our abilities. It's time to unite, time to reach up and defend all our rights. There's so many people in pain. It's time to reach up, time to create a change. It's time that we speak, time to reach up and demand world peace. That we've all got to believe, we've got to reach up if we want to be free. We live in a system based on profit, regardless of what the environmental cost is. So in this society, monetary gain always comes first before people's well-being. Now think about the theory of supply and demand. Everything is worth more, the less of it that's on hand. So if the goal is to make money by any means, it makes sense to deny people of what they need. In reality, energy is abundant. There's no need for anyone to die of hunger. Everyone on Earth could be housed if we wanted, but technology that could help isn't funded. Instead, businesses that control market share purposely keep all our resources scarce. So people are forced to fight, cheat, or lie because there's not enough money for us all to survive. When greed and corruption is rewarded, it means our whole value system is distorted. We need to think critically, change our perception. Almost everything we've been told is a deception. For centuries, things like race and religion have been used to keep us focused on division. We've been conditioned to see ourselves as different from everything else, and that's the point we're missing. Humans are trained to look at disparities that are trivial compared to our similarities. And not just with people. We're talking about completely detaching from nature itself. Our planet's a system that's interconnected. Everything we do, something else is affected. Without animals, elements, or plants, we can't survive on this earth. Humans have no chance. So look at everything as an extension of you. Atomically, we're all the same, it's just a different worldview. And the faster this realization spreads, the better off the world will be moving ahead.
Cale, awesome performance. Thank you so much for that. You describe yourself as kind of an info rapper. What is info rap?
Info rap is sort of a moniker I use to describe my style of hip hop, and essentially what it is information oriented. My songs are kind of like essays, you know, and they're sort of delivered in rhyme form, and they're based on a lot of research and analysis. I try to fact check and cross-reference all of my information, and I use it to present to the public through the popular culture medium of hip hop. So you have info rap, and they're a little bit distinctive in terms of the song format is not really typical. Like I've got a song called The Money Song, which is 8 minutes long. And sometimes when you're dealing with this type of heavy information, you know, you can't just all condense it into a 2.5-minute traditional song.
So like whole history lessons about these concepts.
I guess so.
And why did you choose hip hop to display messages about these deeper political issues?
Okay, well, I was initially introduced to hip-hop at a very young age. I was about 9 years old, and fortunately, my initial influences were political and socially conscious MCs like Chuck D from Public Enemy and KRS. And at a very early age, I realized hip-hop's ability to bridge people and bridge cultures together. And so I've always had sort of a positive message ever since I was young, since I first started. And it sort of took on a bit of a political slant after 9/11 happened back in 2001. I wrote a song called The Facts of War. And when I was doing my research for that song, I started uncovering a lot of information that I wasn't expecting to find, that didn't quite fit with the official stories, so to speak. And I realized when I tried to talk to my friends or other people about this stuff, it was harder for them to absorb it just in conversation or if I give them a book. But I realized if I put music behind it and rapped it and, you know, added some flair, then the message that I was trying to communicate was much more well received. So hip hop is just a very effective medium for me to use right now to get this information out there.
Awesome. And you know, you've risen in the ranks of Canadian hip-hop, and you've been called on multiple publications, you know, Rising Star in Canada. How does it feel to you as a Canadian, you know, looking at kind of your sister neighbor country, being this global hegemon, kind of this imperialistic force of just military aggression in the world? Because I know that a lot of your lyrics are actually about American policy and kind of this militarism that we're seeing and class struggles that kind of stem from the U.S. How do you reconcile that?
Canada is a smaller, like you said, the sister country of the U.S. You know, we only have 30 million people, but yet we're next door neighbors with this powerhouse whose policies are affecting the world on an international level. And when I was first starting writing my album and doing writing about political issues, I didn't really think it was the best idea for me to focus specifically on Canadian politics because the U.S., their policies affect the world. They have an international reach that affects us all. So I kind of that's why I choose to focus more so on U.S. as opposed to just Canadian-centric policies that would probably only appeal to a Canadian population. I'm trying to talk about global issues that affect humanity as a whole. So it's unfortunate, but I have to focus in on U.S. politics specifically.
Right, and of course it bleeds into a lot, like you said, the media culture, the political establishment in Canada. I mean, a lot of it is influenced by this country. Your song Reach Up is really awesome. Thanks for performing it. It's on your album called The Bigger Picture. Cale, what is the bigger picture to you?
Well, the big picture to me right now, if not to sound too esoteric, but basically I think that there's a conscious revolution that's happening right now. There's so many different issues that are affecting us all, and when I think about being conscious, I think about breaking free of the insular, sort of narrow-minded, self-centered mind state that so many of us are imprisoned by, and just recognizing the connections that we all share with one another, and getting a bigger picture perspective of how, you know, we're all interrelated, not just with one another, but with the natural world as a whole. And I really feel that there's a conscious revolution or a collective conscious evolution happening right now as more and more people are starting to understand that concept, and more people are starting to recognize their own agency and their own true potential, which is a great, great thing.
I couldn't agree more. We're all one human family living on one organism. It's time to start treating each other that way and respecting life and the planet. Cale, where can people find out more about your work?
People can find out more about my music at my website, calesampson.com. Feel free to add me on Twitter at @Cale_Sampson. Look out for the new album, The Big Picture, on iTunes. And I just want to take a second to encourage everybody out there who is aware of this information to not be afraid to speak out, not be afraid to use whatever creative medium speaks most to you to express yourself artistically, because art really has the power to inspire the masses, and with great art comes the possibility for great change, which I know in the long run we're going to do, but the time is now, and we're all in this together.
We all need to be agents of change. Thank you so much, Cale Sampson. Really appreciate you coming out.
Thanks, Abby. This is about what's really, truthfully going on. Because ignorance is not bliss, and knowledge is definitely power. The truth is that we need to open up our eyes so that we start to see all of the lies that we were told and we believed. Because the time has come to face reality and work together for the sake of liberty, so that our future generation can be free. We need to wake up and see that the truth is not what it appears to be. Truth is, the real reason for war is motivated by money and corporate interest. Rwanda didn't have oil, that's why the world turned a blind eye during its genocide. Truth is, corporations can donate an unlimited amount of money to a candidate. Democrats and Republicans are bought and paid, so government does whatever corporations say. Truth is, the president doesn't run the country. The people in charge are those who control the money, so the Federal Reserve's really more powerful than the U.S. government, and they're running the show. The truth is that Goldman Sachs sold subprime